This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
It's going to WrestleMania. Claymore.
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass.
This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
All right, guys, huge show today with the mailbag combined with our official preview and prediction for the 2025 Royal Rumble, which comes to you tomorrow night. I did get this out a little bit later as my day was just too crazy. So I will hopefully give you enough time to listen to this and get it in before the Royal Rumble event, which again is 24 hours from now. Huge night coming with potential returns, so much speculation, women's returns, AJ Lee, all the stuff, right? We'll talk about it as the show goes on. But I want to give some shout outs here to some new patrons, as we've gotten several of them over the last several days and heading into the Rumble season, which is great. And I'd like to welcome Martin Miller, Carell, thank you. I don't want to say your last name because I'll screw it up. So Martin Miller, that's an easy one. Carell, thank you for joining us. Andrew Hammond, thank you for joining us as one of our paid members. And thank you, everybody. If you'd like to join everybody over at Patreon, get access to a Discord server that allows you to talk with everybody in real time during the event, head over to Patreon. It's also a 1-week free trial if you'd like to join us. So Patreon, Apple Podcasts, also a great place for ad-free, as well as Spotify. Alrighty, so my goodness, here we are, Royal Rumble season, and just as a reminder before we get into it, I am on vacation from Wednesday to Sunday next week. That doesn't mean you won't hear from me at all. That doesn't mean I won't be posting anything. I will try as long as the Wi-Fi in my hotel is good. I may even record something here and there if I can, but I can't promise anything. I will not be even in the country, so I will not be here. I will not be around to get my normal content out from my stuff that I do on the weekend review. Well, for the end of the week in the mailbag. The mailbag next week may not happen. You guys can still send in questions. Maybe I'll answer them on the Sunday show actually it have to be the Monday show because Sunday I'm traveling. It's going to be a mess next week, guys. So I apologize in advance if you're like, hey, what the hell, this content's not as consistent. I'm going to try. I promise you, I'm bringing my laptop, and as long as the Wi-Fi is good, I'll be posting content. So, alrighty. Well, with that out of the way, let's get to our mailbag, and let's talk to those who sent in emails this week, and we'll get through them as quickly as we can because I know y'all want to hear about the Royal Rumble and the potential returns, what my thoughts are, and we're going to get to that. Alrighty. So let's hear from Andrew. Andrew is a patron. Thank you for being a patron, Andrew. And he says, hey, Matt, I wanted to share my thoughts on the transfer window. I'm actually a fan of the recent transfers. Priest to SmackDown, Bayley to Raw. It shakes up rivalries right before Mania season. I also enjoyed seeing Tiffany and Rhea together. Why does it bother me that this transfer window seems more impactful than the actual draft? They hype up the draft for weeks just to see us have Carmelo Hayes go number one. The transfer window that seemingly came out of nowhere has been brand shattering. Also, does the transfer window ever end? It feels like WWE's been using it as an excuse for 2 months. And quick Rumble predictions. For the women, Charlotte. For the men, LA Knight. All right, Andrew from Flint. Thank you. Good points here about the transfer window. Number one, yeah, did I miss something? Did WWE just not give us a deadline, or did they give a deadline and then stop reminding us what that was because they didn't want to have to stick to it? I don't know. I've been very much against the draft in principle only because they don't stick to their rules, as you guys know. I shouldn't say that. In principle, the draft is a good idea, I think, generally. But the problem is they don't adhere to their own rules and break them when they want out of convenience. And they want to have their cake and eat it too, is what they want. So this transfer window, it does seem more impactful. You know why? Because the draft is, especially when it comes to draft order, is preposterous. I mean, it was very much I don't want to get into the politics of it because I think there were some politics to this. I really do. So let's look at the WWE draft order. All right, in 2024, every draft pick that happened in April of 2024. All right, let's take a look at this. It's absolutely ridiculous. Ready? You want night one? Round one? SmackDown chose Bianca. Now, you guys know I'm a huge fan of Bianca, but she wasn't doing jack around this time at all. And she hasn't done anything since. How are those first-round draft picks going for you? Raw chose Jey Uso. That's a solid pick, but I wouldn't say he's the first overall pick for Raw. Then SmackDown gets Carmelo Hayes, a guy that can't find his identity, that gets, from a main crowd, a main roster crowd perspective, doesn't get exactly the biggest reaction. And then Raw chose Seth Rollins. That's a little bit more of a, I guess, a more logical pick. Yeah, you're right. How the hell is Carmelo Hayes in the first round? He belongs in like the 5th, 6th. Then we get round 2, which had Randy Orton, Braun Breaker, Nia Jax, and Liv Morgan. All right. Randy Orton makes more sense. If you're going for star power and you're going for in-ring ability, I mean, Randy Orton should have been like an overall pick, right? This is very much it's for optics. Okay. At the end of the day, the order of those draft picks is more about perception from the outside world. From stakeholders, shareholders, and sponsors, guys, read between the lines. Why do they want these people? Nothing, again, Bianca, top talent. Jey Uso, top talent. Carmelo Hayes, top talent. Well, I shouldn't say that, sorry. Potential future top talent, but currently way down on the totem pole. Why would they do that? I have my suspicions. That I know that if I said it on this show, people would say stuff, but you got to remember what time we're living in, the perception we're living in, the type of company that owns WWE now, and what their values are, which are very explicit. I'm not interpreting them. They are what they are. I think some of that had to do with that, because in what world would Randy Orton be picked in the second round over Carmelo Hayes? Right? Carmelo Hayes that's ridiculous. Also, how did the Bloodline, Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, and Paul Heyman get chosen in the 3rd round? How did LA Knight get chosen in the 3rd round? He was hot, on fire at that point. AJ Styles, granted he's had injuries, but AJ Styles, at one point the face of the company, is in the 4th round? How does that work? So it's just absurd. You can draw your own conclusions. You can probably read between the lines of what I'm thinking the reason is. Ultimately, this transfer window, back to the point at hand, is open for as long as they want it to be. That's what it is. That's the rule. That's what they're going for, is it's as long as we need it to be open to set up the WrestleMania card. But here's the thing that kills me. They're doing this transfer window, but if they don't adhere to the brand rules anyway, then there's just, like, why even have this? Because you're just going to have a crossover for no reason anyway, with no explanation. I don't know. I just, they don't have a brand split, but they want to say they do. That's what this is. Okay. Thank you. But yeah, no, the transfers have been good. I mean, if they're actually sticking to the rules here, Priest to SmackDown feels fresh. Bayley to Raw. I like it. Helps her. Helps him. Tiffy and Rhea. Yes, I agree. I totally agree. All right, AJ, let's get to your email. And AJ says, really looking forward to my favorite PLE, or you said pay-per-view. I like pay-per-view. I still miss the phrase pay-per-view. I enjoy not having a clear winner in months in advance like Cody and Bayley last year. I do have some personal nightmare scenarios and things I don't want to see, like The Rock winning to face Cody. And I've seen some people theorize that Roman could win and Punk would use his favor to make a triple threat with Cody. Either way, I just don't want either one, because I'm tired of the Bloodline hogging all the main event matches for WrestleMania. They've had the last 5. The last one they didn't have was Kevin Owens and Stone Cold Steve Austin. And I think it's time to move on. That's a great point, AJ. I didn't even think about that. Like everything all the time is Bloodline. And even on this show, I've complained at times like, okay, it's getting old. We need to move on. Bloodline Civil War, this version of Bloodline. They keep evolving the story to keep the general audience hooked. I mean, yeah, they keep hogging the storylines, but at the same time, look at the ratings minute by minute. I mean, I'm going to guess that you don't, but if you did, you could see that these particular stars draw in the fans. This story of the Bloodline still does have a spike in viewership, and listen to the crowd when they're in the arena. It speaks for itself. So I agree that from a distance, it's like, oh my God. But until the crowd changes its mind that they don't want to see this anymore, WWE is going to keep cranking out different versions and different variations, and the Bloodline splits and gets back together, and there's turns, and there's, yeah, it's going to keep going. I don't have a super solid prediction. Cena plus 150 and Punk plus 175 are the current betting favorites, but I don't think Cena will win because he's so heavily advertised for the Chamber. That's a great point, AJ. Excellent point. Excellent. If John Cena, as he has said prior to his 2025 debut of his his farewell tour, that, I mean, you talk about I mean, he's got the Roman Reigns schedule. You know, he's not here every week. If people thought he was going to be here every week, you're sadly now mistaken and getting a slap of reality. But the key here is that I didn't even think about until AJ brought it up. He said, the Rumble will be my last Rumble. The Elimination Chamber will be my last Chamber, which hinted that he'll be in the Chamber. I would imagine he would be. Otherwise, maybe it's a one-on-one match outside, but I doubt it. He'll be in the men's chamber, which, why would he be in the men's chamber match if he won the Rumble? You're not. Why would the Royal Rumble winner be there? They've already got a guaranteed spot at WrestleMania. What the hell are they doing in there? So he kind of gave it away up front. I think you're exactly right. Ooh, you may be onto something. All right. I'll be rooting for Punk, Drew, or Orton if he enters, but honestly, I think it'll be Roman. I hope I'm wrong. Charlotte is the betting favorite for the women, but I hope that doesn't happen either. I would like to see Bianca win, but I think the Jade stuff will overshadow so I'm hesitantly picking Charlotte. Her and Stratton seem like a match. WWE would love to help Stratton get over and look like a star. P.S. It's kind of ridiculous that you can bet on scripted sporting events, and wish me luck on not being stuck working too late Saturday. Oh, I do wish you luck. The good thing is we're in the era of streaming. So as long as you stay off social media, which is difficult, especially if you have notifications enabled. Sometimes I do that. I stay off social media, but then I get a notification from like WWE or from X, and I'm like, no, right? It's like, I don't want to see that, and then it spoils the whole. So here's the key. Since we're in the era of streaming and we're in a luxurious time in our lives where we're able to just see things on demand, even when they're live, turn your notifications off for social media. That way, if you do have to work late and you don't want things spoiled, you can always start from the beginning and not have any spoilers to be worried about. So, cool. Thank you, AJ. All right. Let's see here. Let's talk to. Oh wait, no, I already talked to Andrew. Sorry, I was gonna read your email twice. It was so nice. All right, talk to DJ, and he says it's here. The Royal Rumble, the PLE that most of us would probably say is their favorite PLE of the core four. This will be Triple H's third Rumble as Chief Content Officer, and I gotta say his past Rumbles have been, in my opinion, kind of obvious with the choices of the winners for both men and the women. In 2023, Cody and Rhea, and then the last year Rumble winner in Cody Rhodes and Bayley. However, this year's Rumble has an open field of credible and potential challengers. Plus, the Women's Rumble looks to be probably the best it's ever been, with a stacked roster of SmackDown, Raw, NXT, and don't forget TNA, as Jordan Grace will be making another appearance, or maybe even Masha Slamovich. Did I say that right? Probably not. TNA's knockout champ, or maybe the recent TNA return of Tessa Blanchard could make an appearance at the Rumble. Don't forget about my guy, Joe Hendry. All you got to do is say his name. That's it. I mean, it's that simple. All right, here's your predictions. No spoilers. So, again, not my predictions, guys. This is DJ's predictions. Cody versus Kevin, ladder match for the Undisputed title. Cody retains. Second, DIY versus the Motor City Machine Guns. 2 out of 3 falls for the WWE Tag Team titles. DIY retains. All right, straightforward. 3, Women's Rumble match. 3 dark horse picks. Nia, Liv Morgan, or a possible returning Asuka. Ooh, all right. We're getting in there now. 2 potential picks. Bianca or Charlotte. However, my number 1 pick to win the 2025 Women's Royal Rumble, none other than Io Sky. Io Sky has been a crowd favorite for quite a while since Damage Control became babyfaces, and since she's always had really good matches. My only concern is her character. Who is she? What is her backstory? For those that never saw her on NXT or in Japan, I think WWE could work on that if she wins the Rumble. Interesting. All right. The Men's Royal Rumble match, 3 dark horse picks. Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre, or a possible final boss, i.e. The Rock. 2 potential picks, Roman or John Cena. However, the number 1 pick to win the Rumble, Jey Uso. Main event, Jey Uso. I really think it's his time to get that moment, to finally get that Rumble moment. Jay's been a crowd favorite for a while since he left the OG Bloodline in 2023 and came to Raw. I believe that this year, Jey Uso finally lives up to his main event name and potentially becomes world champion at WrestleMania. With a very stacked women's and men's Rumble this year, I don't think there might be any returns. However, I could probably think of 4. Omos, yeah, people can forget about Omos. AJ Styles and Nikki, I don't really get. Let me just pause there. Nikki Bella is pretending there's some kind of grassroots movement, some kind of organic desire from the fans that's growing for her to return. No one is asking Nikki Bella to return. Now, if she wants to do a one-off, as many of the women do for yesteryear, and the men's match too, for the Rumble, which is fun. You have Diesel. You had Diesel one year. The Honky Tonk Man, things like that. Fine. You want to have a moment like that. Nikki comes out and does her stripper pole dance that, I have no time for. That I don't need this anymore. I'm sorry. I wasn't a Nikki Bella fan when she was in her prime. If there was such a thing. I find her character extremely one-dimensional. I don't think she's that good in the ring. She does nothing for me at all. This is my personal opinion. Nikki Bella, I don't understand. She's the only one who's believing her own hype, I think is what the problem is. But she could absolutely appear. And Becky Lynch. Yeah, okay. Maybe Brock Lesnar, or do I dare say Goldberg? No, please. Please, don't say it. Hopefully you don't say his name and he appears. All right. Anyway, DJ Kuzma signing off. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the Rumble, and I'll try to appear in the Discord chat for Saturday's star-studded Royal Rumble. It's been a long time. Small businesses are at the heartbeat of our communities, but keeping them thriving isn't always easy. That's where Blaze Business Funding steps in, offering quick, flexible financial support tailored to local shops, family-run operations, and everyday entrepreneurs. Whether it's covering expenses, expanding, or adapting to new opportunities, this funding is designed to empower established small business owners. So what's the approval process? Well, you apply and submit a simple application with basic business details. You provide documents, share minimal paperwork like bank statements. There's a quick review, so you get an answer within 24 to 48 hours, and then you receive funds. Approved funds are dispersed in as little as 1 day. Note that funding is only available for existing businesses with a track record. Sorry, no starter loans. It's fast, easy, and built to help mom and pop shops not just survive, but thrive. Check out Blaze Business Funding at blazebusinessfunding.com. All right, let's get to those patron emails directly in the system, and then we'll get to those. I think I might have one that's outside of Patreon. If I don't get to everybody, I do apologize today. We've got a lot to get through here. So let's get to it. Let's get to our first patron who messaged me directly through the system, which I always do appreciate. This is Scott. And he says, hope you're doing well. A couple things for the mailbag. After listening to the Raw review, it got me thinking about significant moments that got me watching wrestling. So for me, it was being 8 years old at school and being told about Stone Cold Steve Austin and watching Raw the following Saturday morning and being hooked ever since. I'm now 39 years old. What a time that was. Well, Scott, we share the same birth year, I would imagine then. I can't... Yeah, well, first of all, you were 8. So if you're my age and you're 8, that means you started watching wrestling in like... how are you 8? You're hearing about Stone Cold. Stone Cold Steve Austin didn't really start until like 97 is really when he started to catch on. I think his character started in 96. I guess maybe the math isn't mathing for me, but I would agree. He's the one that got me hooked. Actually, Shawn and Taker did with their Hell in a Cell match. That's well documented, but Stone Cold by far, and still to this day, is the most just powerful character for me in my wrestling history. We all have different journeys and what kept us watching wrestling and what started, but that's cool. What's your favorite Rumble moment? I have a couple. First, the Three Faces of Foley in 98. How did he not win when he had 3 attempts at it? Shame. I like Foley to have won it at some point. The second is John Cena's return from injury in 08. The look on Triple H's face when he entered it at number 30. Those are 2 great moments, definitely. The Three Faces of Foley, I remember watching that and I'm like, I was naive enough at that point to believe, like, wait a minute, is he triplets? Like, is it the same guy? And I mean, it took me a few minutes. I'm like, no, this is the same guy. And I found it funny, and I still do to this day. It's very clever. A schizophrenic character, of which all 3 characters are well portrayed. It's just great. He had 3 cracks at the Rumble, and he still failed. He took up 3 spots. It was great. As far as John Cena's return, I still remember that. Here's the thing about this. With John Cena, during that whole chain gang era where WWE turned very soft, coming off of Ruthless Aggression right at that time, I was resentful of the John Cena character. Not that I didn't understand or recognize his talent, or I was blind to the success he was having, or thinking that, he's just a flash in the pan. No, I mean, I knew he was a megastar, but that didn't refrain me. Actually, it kind of ignited me to despise his character because he embodied everything that I hated about the change to the company. Because I was in 2008, I was 23 years old, and I still enjoyed the version of wrestling that I had gotten from 97 on, when they had the Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression, TV 14, and they went a different strategic road for the growth of the company. And sure, it's worked out great for them. But at the time, I was extremely resentful of John Cena because he was the symbol of that change. Hustle, loyalty, respect. I mean, like, does it get any more PG than that? You know what I mean? I hated it. You go from Stone Cold beer and middle fingers to hustle, loyalty, and respect, kids. That change really turned me off. I hated it. So I still have some of that lingering for me today for his babyface character, but now we have Cody Rhodes that we can point to for that exact type of character. Mr. Clean Cut. Anyway, I don't get on it, but some of my moments, I mean, one comes to mind that's really funny is Pete Rose in Kane. When Pete Rose, got tombstoned by Kane. Just hilarious. We had Drew Carey in there one year with Kane. The ongoing rivalry, though, with Kane and and Pete Rose. And Pete Rose was the mascot or something. That was really funny. Stone Cold's first win, Stone Cold's second win in 2001, eliminating Kane, was, knowing that he was going to main event WrestleMania 17 with The Rock. That was a big moment. So those are some of them for me. And also Randy Orton RKOing Nia Jax. There you go. All right. So your predictions. You think Io Sky is going to win the Rumble for the women. Nikki, Jordan Grace, and Mickey James are surprise entrants. Bayley to be the Iron Woman in the match, going 55 minutes. Wow. Becky Lynch returns, but not Alexa Bliss. CM Punk wins the men's Royal Rumble. Joe Hendry, the Hardys. Wow, the Hardys. And Big E all return, and Seth Rollins is the Iron Man in this match, lasting over an hour. Keep up the good work. Always a great listen. Scott in the UK. Well, thank you, Scott. I hope everything is well across the pond, as they say. Good stuff. You guys give me a lot to think about for my predictions. All right. Let's go. Let's go to... Who do we want to talk to? Let's talk to Jeff. Hey, wrestling family. First off, I want to say JD is a beast after Monday night. I hope he gets better fast and see what they do with him next. With that, I wonder, with him out, what are they going to do with the Judgment Day? Split them? He's a great wrestler and needs a singles push. Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do. I think JD getting injured here, of course, getting injured always sucks and there's never a great time, but sometimes time away allows the fans to miss you. And JD's not a major character, but he's in a major group, a part of a major group that is starting to, certainly wear out its welcome. I think its lifespan is coming to an end quickly. So sure, I think upon his return, he could maybe be slotted back in if it's only a couple months, but the Judgment Day is probably on its way out sometime this year. Having him in a singles role, going after maybe the Intercontinental Championship is going to be fun. So excited for the Rumble. My favorite PLE. You talked about Rhea possibly entering the Royal Rumble, and I do agree there's no reason for her to be in the match. The men's, anyway. Or the women's. The only thing I could see her doing is coming in, eliminating Dominic, and then leaving. With that being said, my picks and predictions are, okay, well, first of all, yeah, I mean, that is a very WWE thing to do, but the stickler in me, the logical, just a small part of my, just any logic here would say she's doubly disqualified, if that's a thing, from the men's Rumble. Number one, she's not a man. Okay, despite what some people say today that you just have to declare you're the opposite sex and, bippity boppity boo, you are one. That's not how reality and biology works. But she's not a man. And also, she's not a legal competitor. So even if she was in the women's Rumble and she did this to a woman and it wasn't her time to come out, or she was eliminated and did this, it's still not legal. So it's doubly illegal, which I know two negatives don't make a positive here, but you get my drift. All right. I really hope that doesn't happen, but it's a very WWE thing to do. So sure, that's probably right. All right. So you think Cody Rhodes is going to beat Randy? Okay. Oh, he's going to win because of Randy. Got it. DIY wins the tag match. And for the men, you think Jey Uso is going to win. Wow. A lot of you guys are picking Jey. I got to say, I can't agree with Jey Uso. I just can't. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. I feel like he's either going to win the Rumble, or if not, then the Elimination Chamber for a championship shot at WrestleMania against the champ that isn't chosen at the Rumble. The women's match I'm not too sure is going to win because, to be honest, everyone's already won. But if I had to choose, I would say Liv Morgan or possibly Charlotte. I also heard that Trish will be in the match as well. This is going to be a jam-packed night. I can't wait. See y'all in the Discord chat. Thanks for making this podcast. Yeah, no problem. I appreciate it, Jeff, and I hope you enjoy the conversation in Discord. And you also wanted to add that apparently, from what I read, Triple H was told during Town Hall that he's going to be the first inductee into the WWE Hall of Fame. I haven't really talked about that. WWE with Triple H and Undertaker and Shawn Michaels making this quote unquote surprise to Triple H that he's going to be the first inductee to the Hall of Fame. Certainly worth it. Absolutely worth it. I mean, Triple H, his career is unmatched. One of the best heels WWE has ever had in its entire existence as a company. Triple H doesn't get the credit he deserves for how good he was as a heel. I don't think Stone Cold or The Rock would have been as successful as they were had it not been for Triple H. Not solely, but in part. He was a perfect foil, the perfect a-hole. He was awesome. You legitimately hated him. It was, yeah. So now with that said, you guys know there's a but here. I have to say, I am kind of tired of seeing Triple H on my TV screen. And I don't know if it's just the performer in him, the wrestler in him rather, what it is, but he just seems to have this knack, this unsustainable urge that he cannot not act on, where he has to be on camera more than he should be for the introduction of a new championship, or are you ready? He'll come out at the beginning of the Rumble and ask us if we're ready. This is, I'm seeing too much of him. I don't want to. If it was occasionally backstage, fine, but I don't know. And now we're going to see even more of him moving forward because his induction to the Hall of Fame. I don't know. It's weird that I feel like I'm getting a Triple H burnout a little bit, but I kind of am. So, again, no disrespect to Triple H. He's just incredible. I mean, again, he is arguably in some circles in the Hall of Fame, not Hall of Fame, Mount Rushmore of wrestling. If you want to put Triple H on the Mount Rushmore of wrestling, there's an argument to be made for that, I think. All right. Thanks, Jeff. Let's talk to Alex, the French guy. And he says, I wanted to say last week the following. For the first time in many years, the Royal Rumble is really unpredictable. It's the same with the WrestleMania card. I don't know if it's a good or bad thing. Maybe I know if it's a good thing. If WWE creates a great card, it will be that's just it. And here's the kicker. For all the fans, and I'm not saying it's you, Alex, just generally, there are so many fans that they complain, and their sole one-dimensional complaint is wrestling's too predictable. Oh, it's predictable. Oh, I saw that coming. All right. And with this WrestleMania season and this Royal Rumble, there isn't a fan on this earth right now that knows, again, unless you're in the business and in WWE and in creative, that knows what's going to happen. This is one of the most unpredictable seasons we've had in quite a while. So for everybody out there who is just complaining on the basis that it's predictable all the time, and you value unpredictability so much, well, then right now you should be elated. Right now you should be skipping down the road, skipping to work. You're in your glory because you cannot tell me with any certainty who's going to win the Rumble this year or WrestleMania for that matter. So, but here's the thing. Those same fans that love their unpredictability, and they're going through a lot of it right now, will then complain when something happens that they don't agree with. So they're going to be, they're not giving WWE credit for things being unpredictable right now, but when they have something happen, then they don't like it. It's like, well, you like unpredictability, right? So they're trying to have it both ways. I think it's a good thing. I do. I think it's a good thing. Now, there are so many good options. There isn't a glaring option that you're like, oh my God, they have to do this or it'll suck. You know what I mean? There's not one that you're like, oh my God, if they don't get to this match at WrestleMania, it's going to be horrible. That match doesn't exist because there are so many good combinations. It's not that one is so far above all the others. Although I will say Rock and Roman is one that I want to get to, but that's beside the point here. So yeah, good overall. Let's get to Miller from beautiful South Africa. Here's his predictions. All right. What's Miller? He says, I don't think it's going to be Cena because it's his final retirement tour. It's his last time to compete in the Chambers, so he shouldn't win and go the other path and compete in the Elimination Chamber to move on to Mania. Yeah, exactly. It's funny. I just made that point. It's not going to be Seth or Punk. Their story's still too fresh and not completely resolved. They will have a WrestleMania rematch. Okay, cool. Roman Reigns has his story that has to happen this year with The Rock. The Rock might either enter as 31, with Roman still in. Roman will eliminate The Rock, but The Rock will come back and throw Roman Reigns over the top to eliminate him. My pick is going to be a wild card, but I think Jey Uso. Man, you guys. Jey Uso is going to win the Rumble and get his rematch with Gunther and win the title. The women, my pick is Becky to be the first two-time women's winner, and she will go on to face Rhea Ripley. Cody will win the ladder match. Kevin Owens will get Sami eliminated in the Rumble to set up their match at the Royal Rumble. Cheers to everyone. All right, Miller. Well, you joined the bandwagon of CM Punk, Jey Uso winning the Rumble. I don't know, man. I'll get to my predictions very, very soon. We're almost there. But other than that, you got some good stuff in here. I will just say that it's hard for me to not spoil my predictions by responding to you. It's a bit of a contrarian, issue here. So, all right, we have one more email. Let's get to it. This is Kay. Back on some things. So SmackDown, 3 hours is too long. 2 hours is perfect. I would agree. Why is Pretty Deadly around? The gimmick sucks and it's been flogged for years. I don't know. Pretty Deadly is on life support, I have to say. The women were great. Chelsea and Piper are gold with the gimmick. Tiffany's always great. As we all keep stating, Belair has to get out of the tag team division. Look for Liv and Raquel to be crowned soon. Yes, please. Please. Can we put a bounty on it? I mean, anything, yes. All right. Why are they... What they're doing with KO is very good. The new Piper Austin. Saturday night main event. Braun versus Jacob was brutal and entertaining. Raw. No idea, as you've stated with the New Day. Head scratching. Yeah. What the hell? They had a brilliant turn by both men, and then they just go into hiding. And I shouldn't say that. They've been doing stuff, but you poured cold water on the whole thing by having them lose. I mean, maybe the big turn, the big evolution in this is Big E's return at the Rumble to confront them, which I've been, and many have been, pointing to a possibility of. All right. FYI, what happened to JD was brutal. It could have been catastrophic. Although he is not a favorite of mine, he's one tough Irish lad. Yeah, well, that's the whole point I was making is he doesn't have to be your favorite to just have sympathy for the guy. Because if you love pro wrestling, you feel sympathy instantly. Whether he's a hated heel or you love him as a baby, it doesn't matter. All that goes out the window. Immediately. With that hit, how you feel about his character instantly vanishes. And it's just, again, if you have a soul, you're thinking, oh my God, like, is he okay? You know, and luckily he relatively was, right? Nothing life-threatening, which is great. So you have a couple predictions for the Rumble. A lot of shenanigans throughout. Cena wins, although I can't stand him, to keep the final tour going. Charlotte, 100%. The Queen is back. Thanks for all you do. Cheers. Well, thank you, Kay. Thank you. Appreciate it. All righty. So do I have... Wait a minute. Oh, wait. I might have one more here. This is from Amber. Let's see what Amber says. This isn't the best video, but I recorded it while watching Saturday night's main event. A fan along the ramp has a sign that says, quote, "A year later, the story still sucks," which Cody sees and then ignores. But after Cody walks by it, a security guard walking behind him shoves the guy's sign out of view of the camera. Interesting. Just thought it was interesting that how desperate WWE is to make sure the fans support Cody. They don't do this with anyone else. I've been noticing a slight decline in crowd reaction for Cody over the last few months, and simultaneously an increased effort from WWE to shove Cody down our throats as often as possible. It makes you wonder, what is it about Cody specifically that makes WWE desperate for him to be the guy? This has been going on since his return at WrestleMania 38. They obviously didn't see it in him before he left, so I wonder what it is about him that made them go, this is it, this is the guy. Even when the fans seem to be slowly losing interest, hoping he loses the belt at WrestleMania 41. So I'll check out that video, Amber. Thank you. I mean, here's what WWE would say in response to that. And I'm going to speak officially on behalf of the company. Okay. And get myself in trouble. No, but here's what they would say. They would probably say something to the effect of, we didn't choose anyone. You guys did. Right? We are the ones that continued to support him from day one when he returned against Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 38. We're the ones that decided to push The Rock from the main event and make Cody the guy to slide in and win the belt. Now, there are conspiracy theories of WWE formulating that whole scenario to, knowing the fans would uprise, so it looks like an organic reaction and that we're responding to the fans, but in actuality, it's WWE manipulating the fans to react that way. That's certainly possible that we all felt, you guys all fell for it. It's not impossible, but it's not the likely scenario. The likely scenario is the fans actually decided, no, we want Cody. And hence a hashtag was born. So the fans are really the ones responsible for this continued Cody support, right? WWE at times has shoved stars down our throats, a la the big dog character from Roman Reigns for 6 years. Horrible. John Cena, for however many years he dominated the top at his babyface character. I never liked his babyface character very much, especially the humorous version of his babyface character. It's one of the worst I've ever seen. But incredible on the microphone, and I don't think he gets enough credit for how good he is in the ring. I don't think he's a mat technician, let's be all honest, but certainly one of the best of all time. I don't think he's the best, but one of. I can't deny that. But it's not WWE shoving him down our throats. They're just trying to create the perception that there is no dissension right now for Cody. Right? If you're the company and you went with the fans and you decided to make him the face of this new era, which is exactly what happened at WrestleMania 40, then you don't want it to look like, especially if there's no plans for it right now, to turn Cody heel, then you don't want it to look like there's any fans that are against this movement. The only way that this is going to change is if the fans do it in larger numbers. And if there's a little bit less of a support for Cody, that doesn't get me excited yet, because that's ebb and flow. I don't care how big of a star you are. Stone Cold, Hogan, Rock, Kane, Taker, go down the line, Ultimate Warrior. The support from fans ebbs and flows, especially from city to city, town to town, country to country, year to year, month to month. It all varies. So it's difficult to take the temperature of the support for Cody from a single event. You'd have to really pay attention to every single show and look at it as an aggregate, in totality, from week to week. Patterns is what I'm looking for. And right now I would say the slightest of decline for Cody, but nothing that would get me excited. I mean, I just don't know how people support him. Again, not the man. He seems like a genuinely good guy, but this genuinely good guy character is actually kind of who he is. But I don't want to see that nice of a guy on my TV screen being champion, wearing suits and, just the way he speaks in his promos. He's a good promo. Great promo. Let's be honest. Really good in the ring. I'm not downplaying his talent. It's just he's not my flavor at all. In fact, he is the antithesis of what I kind of want out of a champion. He's too hard to anger. He's too slow when he speaks. He's too self-aware of how he looks. I've said this before, but I can't explain it any better. And part of it is what really annoys me with Cody is not his bleach blonde hair or his suits, although that adds to it. It's almost like when he's cutting his promos, when he speaks like this, and his promos start out really slow. And I understand there's an evolution to a promo, but you can almost feel that he's thinking about how he looks as he's delivering it. Like he's self-aware of how he's looking. And I don't want to feel that. Now, you're trained to know how you look. You probably watch tape back of yourself. It's a weird point to make, but I can't describe it any more than that. I want it to feel ad-libbed. I want it to feel like you don't care how you look. You're just going to speak your mind. Cody feels very controlled and produced. He feels very produced. And I've never appreciated that about his character. So you guys didn't think you were going to get an episode without a Cody rant, did you? Come on. There's some fuel for you guys to complain on Spotify that I'm, how do I like wrestling? Do you even like wrestling? I can't stand it. Too bad. Get your own show. All right. So yeah, thank you so much, Amber, for that. And, I'm watching the video right now. It does look like he pushed it out of the way a little bit, but also maybe he's leaning a little bit too far, the contact with stars. So yeah, I mean, sure. That's the more fun answer. All right. Let's get to some of the voicemails, guys. I don't know how many I'm going to get to here because I got to get to my Roman predictions, and I usually don't want to go over an hour here with my time crunch. So let's see what we can do.
This is DJ Kuzmo back at it again on your Mailbag Show. Record you live on a Wednesday morning, and you know what time it is. It's time to
say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry.
That's right, folks. Joe Hendry is his name, as I take it to my 29th episode of the Joe Hendry Report, coming to you live, as always, from an undisclosed location, as we're on the road to the Royal Rumble, which is happening this Saturday, February 1st, live from Indianapolis, Indiana. But before we get to the Joe Hendry report, I must mention something very critical, something very important that might play a role in Joe Hendry making an appearance, a possible appearance at the Royal Rumble, and that is WrestleCon Indianapolis. It was announced last week on Thursday that Joe Hendry will be at WrestleCon Indianapolis on January 31st and February 1st. And it happens to also take place that the Royal Rumble is in Indianapolis, Indiana. So there's, I guess you could say, a 50-50 chance that Joe Hendry will make an appearance at the Royal Rumble via WrestleCon Indianapolis, which is one of those wrestling conventions that happens every year, especially around the big pay-per-views or the big PLEs in the WWE. So Joe Hendry will be at WrestleCon Indianapolis on January 31st and February 1st as we all get ready for the Royal Rumble. Now let's take it to what happened last week on a live episode. That's right, folks, a live episode of TNA Pro Wrestling, as this was the fallout from TNA Genesis as Joe Hendry was celebrating his championship win as becoming the new TNA World Heavyweight Champion, as we see Joe Hendry comes in and the crowd is saying, we believe, singing along to his song, the catchy theme song that everybody loves and everybody says his name, as Joe Hendry thanks the crowd once again for believing in him and having that belief and having that movement, that we believe movement, to carry him into TNA Genesis to become the new TNA World Heavyweight Champion. He mentions that he wants to be a fighting champion, and he told Santino Marella, the commissioner of TNA Pro Wrestling, that he wants to face any comers, any person from TNA's roster or anybody outside of TNA, that he wants to defend the TNA World Championship against whoever it is. So then here comes Santino Marella as he made a big announcement that the main event of this live episode of TNA Pro Wrestling will be Joe Hendry versus none other than Matt Cardona. If you remember him in WWE, he was known as Zack Ryder. Woo woo, you know the whole woo woo guy, Zack Ryder. So Matt Cardona is Joe Hendry's challenger, his first challenger in his first TNA World Heavyweight Championship defense. Now let's take you to the main event itself, as we had Joe Hendry versus Matt Cardona. The match went 16 minutes and 8 seconds, as we had a couple of shenanigans that went something like this. At first, we saw that Matt Cardona accidentally knocked out the referee in the right corner, so the referee was out for a while. Joe Hendry went for the pop-up powerbomb, and when he went for the count, there was no referee, as the referee was still knocked out. So then Matt Cardona, as sneaky, as conniving as he is, crawls to the outside of the ring to go get the TNA World Heavyweight Championship belt to see if he could attack Joe Hendry and knock him out before the referee, gets out of his, unconsciousness. But anyway, here comes John Bradshaw Layfield again. This time, he gives a clothesline to Matt Cardona, as Matt Cardona was trying to attack Joe Hendry with the TNA World Heavyweight Championship belt. And then there was this very odd, very kind of interesting stare down between John Bradshaw Layfield and Joe Hendry. Does John Bradshaw Layfield believe in Joe Hendry? This is the second time that John Bradshaw Layfield was involved in a match with Joe Hendry. Now, I hope this does not continue, that every time Joe Hendry has a match that we see John Bradshaw Layfield. I mean, come on, guys. Come on, TNA Creative. Let's not do that all the time. So hopefully this is the last time that we see John Bradshaw Layfield make an appearance doing a Joe Hendry match. Anyway, we get to the closing part of the match. As the referee finally wakes up, Joe Hendry goes for the standing ovation after when Matt Cardona was trying to attack Joe Hendry with the title belt. So Joe Hendry goes for the standing ovation chokeslam, and 1, 2, 3, Joe Hendry gets the victory to retain the championship, as he has his first successful TNA championship defense. Like I mentioned before, Joe Hendry will be at the Indianapolis, Indiana this Friday, January 31st, and Saturday, February 1st for WrestleCon Indianapolis. There's a 50-50 chance that Joe Hendry might make an appearance at the Royal Rumble. He will also be at the Jericho Cruise on February 2nd and February 3rd. So with all the exciting things that are happening in the world of Joe Hendry, always remember to say his name. Believe, always remember the words that Joe Hendry says anytime, any place, at any show. And most importantly, as Joe Hendry is your TNA World Champion, always remember to do this.
Wave your hands from side to side and say, oh, I believe in Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry is so prestigious.
Once again, this is your guy, DJ Kuzmo. Have a blessed week. Be kind to one another. Stay safe, my friends. Believe and peace.
Thank you, DJ, for keeping us updated here as we certainly are interested in, especially if you're even a casual WWE fan. Is this guy going to debut on the roster? Is he coming to the Rumble? My prediction is, honestly, I think he is. Is he going to debut at the Rumble? Well, I don't think he's going to debut at the Rumble. He's already been in NXT, but I think he's going to definitely be a part of the Rumble, see what the reaction is, and then he's going to stay back in TNA, as WWE and TNA have a working relationship that has worked out pretty well so far. And Jordan Grace and all the rest. So certainly, yeah, I think that's very plausible. Now, JBL getting involved with Matt Cardona. Those of you that aren't following JBL, probably didn't even know that he was involved. I didn't. I heard rumors that he was, appearing here and there in TNA. I don't know what this is leading to. Like you said, I would agree. I don't need JBL anywhere near wrestling at this point. I don't need a match between JBL and Matt Cardona or JBL and Joe Hendry. Nah. I'm good. Nah, bruh. Like, I'm okay. Don't need it. But thank you, DJ. Thank you so much for the updates, and I hope you enjoy the Rumble. All right, last couple voicemails and then my predictions.
Hey, Matt, Brad in Florida. So if you look at the betting sites, and I know you know what I'm talking about in terms of, odds being whatever they are and why that's a tell into sort of what's going to happen, but all of the major betting sites that offer WWE all have Seth Rollins as a favorite to win the Royal Rumble. I can completely see it, especially after this Monday's promo with Gunther and Seth opening the show on Raw. I mean, Seth is going to win. Here's my prediction. Seth is going to win the Royal Rumble. He's going to challenge Gunther. Cena, who has been advertised like crazy for Elimination Chamber, is going to win Elimination Chamber, and he's going to challenge Gunther. And that's when you're going to get Cena, Seth, Gunther, three-way for the championship, because I don't think that Cena can carry a 20, 22-minute main event match by himself. But in a three-way, obviously, that goal goes out the window. You could have Seth and Gunther doing a lot of the heavy lifting, and then have Cena, roll out of the ring for a minute or two, catch his breath, get his wind under him, come back in, do some cool stuff, come out, whatever. I think it is the most brilliant way to get Cena in a match, and I think that is what's going to happen. I also think that CM Punk will get into the main event. I think it'll honestly be Cody versus Roman, but I think that CM Punk is going to get the favor from Heyman and get into that match as a three-way as well. So I think you're going to have three-ways as your WrestleMania Night 1 and Night 2 main events for the heavyweight and Universal or Undisputed Championship. And I think that's the way it goes down, man. I'm just shocked. I was shocked to see Seth Rollins as the betting favorite. And I mean by that, by the odds makers making him a heavy favorite to win it. But after you kind of think about it from that perspective, I'd love to know your thoughts. 73 degrees here today and sunny. Thanks, Matt. Bye-bye. Hey, Matt, one other thing that I wanted to say that before I forget, Luis, who does your After Dark show, this man is an unbelievable broadcaster, incredibly interesting. I cannot recommend listening to Luis. I believe it's Luis Gonzalez, anymore. If that means you have to go up a tier, this guy is so phenomenal. It's like listening to Joe Tessitore or something. I mean this very seriously, he is an incredible broadcaster and just has a really funny, interesting way that he puts things that is really compelling. So bravo to you, Luis. I hope this gets on the air. And Matt, great job choosing a wonderful After Dark podcast host there, because he is amazing. Thanks.
All right. Well, yeah, Luis he's awesome. He's awesome. I mean, he's better than I am. I mean, I'm not saying that to like put anybody over, but like he is. I mean, you don't need to tell me. I know he's better than I am. I mean, he could, if this show ever goes under, or if I die, like I would grant the show to him. I mean, like, just he is incredible. And it also is an incentive, of course, if you guys want to go to Patreon and get on there and go up a tier. The NXT Plus and above get it every other week, and the SmackDown level gets it every week from Luis. He's great. He's great. I'm telling you, within like 2 minutes of listening to him, you're like, oh, I get it. Just the way he delivers, his voice was made for audio. I mean, just everything. I totally agree. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. So thank you for the compliments to him, and I'm sure, if he hasn't listened to this, I'll let him know that, to look at the timestamp and hear from a listener that really likes his work, and couldn't agree more. I'm learning from him. Not that I'm trying to mimic him, but certainly he's excellent. Can't agree more, Brad. And thank you for the last little quick jab, a little 6-inch jab about the weather. Thank you so much. But I'll be in Mexico where it's 85 degrees and sunny for 4 days, but then I have to come back to reality. There's nothing worse than coming back from a vacation, knowing what's waiting for you. I'm already like pre-depressed. That's a thing. I mean, I'm excited for my vacation for a few days, but also like I'm pre-depressed for knowing how I'm going to feel heading home. But also, on top of that, like another plane crashed. It wasn't a commercial airline this time. With obviously we all know what happened at Reagan Airport with the military helicopter that crashed into the American Airlines flight. Disaster, first accident in 15 years for the commercial airlines. But then today, just like an hour and a half, 2 hours ago, a plane, I believe it was a medical plane, took off from an airport in Northeast Philadelphia and just went plummeting to Earth and killed 6 people. So I'm sitting here going, I don't have a really big fear of flying, but I'm starting to I'm starting to develop one. So I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe get some Xanax. I don't know. But anyway, thank you, Brad, for that. And you present some great scenarios there. And let me get into my predictions. Let me just do them now. All right. So here are my official 2025 Royal Rumble predictions. So first of all, let's get some of the other matches out of the way. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. So the undisputed, the tag team championship match. I mean, let's be honest, it's the least interesting match out of all these for most people. I think probably DIY retains in a fun wrestling match that will get the crowd into it more than you think it will. It's one of those matches that on paper you go, it's just, right? There's only 4 matches on the whole card, which is incredible. And this is a DIY win. All right. Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens. Cody Rhodes retains. I don't even need to think again. How does he retain? Could be Randy Orton. Randy Orton could come in, but you also don't want looking like Cody needs help. So someone would have to come and help Kevin, which could be Sammy. So how about this? Cody still retains. The outcome is still the same. But how they get there could be Randy. It also could be Sammy, who looks like he's there to help Kevin because Kevin demanded that he essentially help him. And he ends up accidentally, quote unquote, screwing Kevin, leading to the eventual match, potentially again, between Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, which is, I mean, they work well together, apart. I mean, they've got great chemistry no matter how you put them together. But so that's why I think either Randy or Sammy or a combination of both end up screwing Kevin Owens. And then he's got something else to bitch about for the next 6 weeks, which is just great. Kevin Owens in the delusional state of aggression, the aggressive delusional state is the best version of Kevin Owens. I will stand by that. But fun match, and Cody retains. Now, more fun. All right, here we go. Women's Royal Rumble match. A lot of people going with EO. I understand that. A lot of people going with EO Sky. I don't think so. Although they haven't really been building much at all regarding the Women's Rumble. It has been largely forgotten. I will say Charlotte is a heavy favorite for me. She's returning, and to win the Rumble would certainly make a big impact. But is she going to be revealed as a potential attacker for Jade? She could be that person. I'm gonna go Bianca Belair. I'm saying Bianca Belair wins the Rumble because I think they're gonna go Bianca Rhea Ripley. And I not only because I think that, but I want that. So 2 different things, but hopefully they'll be the same thing. Bianca versus Rhea at WrestleMania. It needs to happen. That's a right in the tank. Now you could have, yes, Becky Lynch could return, although I mean, I don't know. Fans aren't dying for her to return. She could. I know. Although Kyle, is it Kyle that from one of our listeners loves Becky? I don't know. I think Becky Lynch has kind of run out of ideas and run out of things to accomplish, which is kind of also a compliment to her. So Becky Lynch, I think, does 50-50 chance she comes back. Yes, the big potential return for a one night only stand could be AJ Lee. The pop she'll get is going to be incredible if AJ Lee does come out. I'm looking forward to that. Trish could make an appearance, and that'll get a nice reaction. You could have Tori Wilson, but I hope they don't lean on those kinds of entrants and actually lean on the talent they have more than anything. So Io Sky is going to be in the Final Four. I expect Bayley to be in the Final Four, but I think ultimately it's Bianca Belair who's going to win this and face Rhea Ripley for the Women's Championship. All right. So for the men, boy, this is tough. This is the most difficult Royal Rumble that I've been involved in recent memory. So let's look at who's already announced. John Cena, Roman Reigns, Punk, Rollins, McIntyre, Uso, Knight, Sainz, Nakamura, Rey Mysterio, Logan Paul, Braun Breaker, Penta, and Chad Gable and Carmelo Hayes. Those are the 15. So they gave us half of the entrants that are going to be there. This is difficult. This is hard. I will say no to Jey Uso. And I know a lot of you are like, but he's ready. Yeah, I think he is. But are the fans like? Be real with yourself. I mean, I know those of you out there who want Jey Uso to win, but is it the majority you feel that the fans also concur with that? Like, are the fans generally also behind you? And I don't think the answer is yes on that, because there's bigger stars in here with more support, like a Punk, like a Cena, who's on the last run of his career. Roman Reigns, my God. Jey Uso is just not in that top tier. And he just had a world title match in which he lost. He lost fair and square. So they really, I think, made a statement to fans, hey, I know you like Jey, but not yet. Not yet. Seth Rollins, I mean, look at the names in here. Just these names alone will tell you that Jey has no chance. Rollins, Punk, Reigns, Cena. No chance. Sorry, Jey is not in that top tier. He's in the top of the second tier, but he's not in the top of the top tier. Sorry. Great, good crowd reactions, but they've been inconsistent with Jey. There hasn't been really a story to tell yet with Jey. Yes, he has had a couple of championship matches and he hasn't been able to cross over the bridge yet, but the timing of him, I'm sorry, Jey Uso main eventing WrestleMania in a one-on-one it's not quite there for me yet this year because of the way things are lining up. I'm not against it. Like, don't get me wrong. If Jey Uso wins, hey, cool. Like, I'm on board, man. Like, all right, we're building a new star here, single star that is ascended into that next level. Cool. Like, I'm not against it. I just don't see it happening this year because it's Cena. It's Reigns, who's in the Rumble for the first time in 6 years. You have CM Punk back in the Rumble for the first time. And actually, no, last year he got injured, so hopefully it doesn't happen again. But you have Punk in there as a serious contender. Seth Rollins in there, who's going to be targeting Reigns. You have Drew McIntyre, who's also on the run of his career right now. And I'm sorry, Jey Uso just doesn't line up with that. So Jey's out for me. Sami Zayn's out, Nakamura's out, Rey Mysterio's out, Logan Paul's out, Braun Breaker, Penta, Gable, Hayes, all gone. McIntyre, I would love it, but probably not. That leaves us with Rollins, Punk, Reigns, Cena. Okay, you could have a Big E return. I think Big E, if he does come back, will be set up in a scenario where it's Kofi and Xavier in the ring dominating, and then here comes Big E, which I've imagined for a while, which will be fun. But none of those three men have any chance. It's about building to a match with those three in some way. It can't be a handicap, but some way to WrestleMania, if indeed that happens. The other, of course, outlier, but possible, and I would even say somewhat likely, is The Rock. Now, what does The Rock do if he's in there? Does he make himself number 31? I don't know. I mean, that got leaked, so you'd imagine WWE, if that Rumble list was true, knowing it got leaked would change the plans. So I'm going to say, if The Rock's in there, he could win. But if he wins, if The Rock enters and wins, those are two big ifs. The Rock will challenge Cody, because they teased that last year. So that's finishing this. They're all about finishing stories. There's a story they didn't finish that started the Monday Night Raw for WrestleMania last year. But you can also have Roman eliminate Rock. Rock eliminate Roman. And then The Rock gets eliminated by, I don't know, John Cena or whatever. It's kind of immaterial. Rock is the one to eliminate Roman, thinking they're on the same page. Bam, he eliminates him. Cena eliminates Rock. Two massive eliminations, but it was about The Rock eliminating Roman, and they build that story to WrestleMania. How about that? That's how I think it happens if it goes down. If The Rock's there, he's going to be there simply to eliminate Roman Reigns to start a match to WrestleMania 41. Roman's not going to win the Rumble. We don't need him in another title match yet. Fans are not quite ready for him to be there, because part of what made the fans turn on the whole thing sourly is because he was champion and holding it hostage. And Roman Reigns has no intentions, and WWE seemingly has no intentions of changing Roman's schedule back to full time. We kind of understand what Roman's schedule is now. We've all accepted it. And it's way more palatable to accept this schedule when he doesn't have a championship holding that he's able to hold hostage. So Roman doesn't win, but he's there. He'll be targeted by probably Drew, by Punk. There'll be some fun interactions of Punk and Roman going face-to-face, Punk and Cena going face-to-face, Rock and Punk if he's there. There's a lot of fun combinations. That's why I said this year's really kind of hard to screw up, because there's just so many good ways to end this that there's not a lot of bad ones. So it's a hell of an exciting match. So what do I think? Well, the idea that Seth wins isn't the most crazy. He could challenge Gunther, right? He certainly is on the table, and then whoever wins the Chamber could face Cody. And then, what if The Rock enters the Chamber and then he's the one to face Cody? There's a lot of crazy ways to go. There's two paths to WrestleMania. This isn't the only one. It's not one and done. So Seth Rollins winning the Rumble does make sense, but if they want the focus of the winner to face Cody, right? If the winner is going to face Cody, then you could make more of a case for Punk or Rock, not Roman. I don't want, and I will, Brad, I see your triple threats, but I can't imagine WWE doing that many triple threats. I'm not a fan of that, but just because I'm a fan of it doesn't mean they wouldn't do it. But the WrestleMania main events, particularly for championships, should not be for triple threats. Like, it's one-on-one, traditionally. Not all the time. I mean, the first women's main event was a triple threat, but I don't think that they would do that many triple threats. There could be one out of the two, like Punk, Rollins, and Gunther on one side, and then Rock versus Cody, or Randy versus Cody. I didn't even bring up Randy Orton. Randy Orton there. Jacob Fatu is probably going to have a big night, impactful night. He's going to be a fan. He already is a fan favorite. Fans are getting behind him so quickly because they sniff out a big star. They've sniffed it out, and they are on board. They want to be behind him right from the ground level. So Jacob Fatu is going to have a big night, and so that's my prediction. It's kind of a wishy-washy prediction because it's such a crazy night, but I feel pretty confident about the women. The men is a little bit more difficult, but I'll say Seth. I'm going to say Seth Rollins to challenge Gunther, and then the Chambers to decide who faces Cody. But again, if The Rock's involved, boy, does that change things. It changes things because The Rock could win the Rumble. Hell, John Cena could win. You can make a case for Cena because Cena versus Gunther. What's wrong with that? I think Cena is capable of it. Why? Because these two have a style that I think would work well together. It's nothing high flying. Very much a power for power, based match. It wouldn't be anything spectacular, but I don't know. I'm just thinking about all these possibilities that are just flying through my head. And Seth is a front runner for me, and I see why the money's going to him. But boy, Punk also makes sense as I go through it too, because Punk hasn't ever won a Rumble, and he got injured last year. So Drew is not going to win, given that the fact that no one wants Drew versus Gunther, and Drew versus Cody doesn't really. There's some. Isn't Drew on SmackDown? Yeah, Drew's on SmackDown. So I guess you could do Drew and Cody. But Jay, guys, I'm sorry. And if I eat my words, I eat my words. But Jey Uso, I don't think has a chance. He'll be in the final 5 or 6 or 4 or 3 even. But no, Jey Uso's not going to win. Sorry. I mean, he just had his championship matches. All right, so there you go. Wishy-washy predictions. Because I'm not a man. I can't stand by my own word. No, but I really I'm that perplexed about all the potential opportunities here. And that'll do it. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening and all your predictions. You guys are probably going to be way better than I am with all the predictions as I'm probably going to stumble right through it. From the first match, you're going to have, I'm probably going to go 0-4. And I recognize that, but that's my best foot forward here. So thank you, everybody, for listening. As you guys want to check out our Patreon side of things, you can do that at patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Get yourself an ad-free experience throughout the entire WrestleMania event and on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify. So thanks, everybody, for listening. I really appreciate it, and I'll talk to you next time. Small businesses are at the heartbeat of our communities, but keeping them thriving isn't always easy. That's where Blaze Business Funding steps in, offering quick, flexible financial support tailored to local shops, family-run operations, and everyday entrepreneurs. Whether it's covering expenses, expanding, or adapting to new opportunities, this funding is designed to empower established small business owners. So what's the approval process? Well, you apply and submit a simple application with basic business details. You provide documents, share minimal paperwork like bank statements. There's a quick review, so you get an answer within 24 to 48 hours, and then you receive funds. Approved funds are dispersed in as little as 1 day. Note that funding is only available for existing businesses with a track record. Sorry, no starter loans. It's fast, easy, and built to help mom and pop shops not just survive, but thrive. Check out Blaze Business Funding at blazebusinessfunding.com.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.